All right, let's do it live on a First Friday Miracle edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. Merely Beau, the great Z. We have lots of papers, lots of documents with us here as we start the show. Gibby has got all sorts of show prep.
Well, yesterday we were fighting the websites and the pop-ups, so I said, why don't I just print the stuff?
Well, why don't you just
But is
tell
this
me
a
what
different
movie you
is this a
wanna see?
different article?
This is a different article.
Yeah, because Aaron Donald was not number one. In this article, I'm dominating.
That's higher or lower.
I've got Donald and Ramsey. I got 1-2, Bo. On this article.
Is this Prisco? I knew it. Before even looking at anything, as soon as I saw this ranking, I knew it was Prisco.
Based on what?
Joe Burrow 5.
Well, I would have Joe Mixon being 8th would have made it not Prisco-ish to me because he would only have a running back.
The idea that
12th.
the most important player in the Super Bowl is someone other than a quarterback.
4 people, in fact.
Is that what the premise is?
4 people.
Is that the premise? Prisco loves this. He loves to find little things,
Stir up the pot.
and make people argue. The idea that it's always going to be the two quarterbacks.
Right.
It's just the way the sport is. So anything else is just kind of nonsensical at that front. By the way, he must think that the Rams are going to win by 1,000 because his first 3 are all Rams.
Blowout city, baby.
Yeah, beat down city. What's
Yeah.
your read on it early here? Won't hold you to it, but on a First Friday, what's your read here early on this one?
I favor the Rams.
Yeah.
I'm on the Rams side, and I don't want to make the mistake of going away from my initial thing, so I probably will still be saying Ram it by Friday.
I don't even know what the number is
I believe
on it.
Quattro.
Is it 4? Is it 4?
Unless it's moved. That's what it.
I had a 2-0 2 weeks ago when we did the scores.
Oh boy.
What a treat. What a real treat. Yeah.
Out of 1-1. Middling
1-1. Yeah. I have a hard time. I keep coming back to this. I was talking to a buddy of mine, longtime Bengals fan, last night.
4.
And was just thinking, you certainly can find a different roadmaps for everybody to win, and that Rams defensive line is obviously going to be a problem. But it must be something, and I was saying this, it must be something to go into a game. I mean, like, I have zero trepidation about Joe Burrow being a problem. None. Like, I think he'll play great. And it's hard for me to imagine him, like, throwing a pick in a big moment. I could see Stafford doing that. Almost did against the Niners.
Yeah.
You could feel – I just don't – it's hard to imagine Burrow doing something to blow it, boy. Like, you could see him losing. They might not be good enough, right? They just might not be good enough. But I don't think it'll be him as the reason for it.
I'm fine with that. I love Joe Burrow. Joe Cool.
Yeah.
Part 2. The second. He's got to win. Don't you think he has to win at least – he's got to win 1 Super Bowl before he can be Joe Cool?
Yeah.
Like, that's Joe Montana 4-0 in Super Bowls.
Was Joe Cool? I mean, he was on that the Sports Illustrated cover, Joe Cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that a nickname or was it just – yeah. Yeah, I don't remember him having a nickname. I just remember.
Let's see what all the different nicknames that the Pro Football Reference gives him.
Yeah, they usually have a laundry list of
Remember the
nicknames.
Pharaoh? The Pharaoh for Tom Brady?
The Pharaoh.
I never heard that in my whole life.
Never. No. It's a mouthful.
Nickname, 1 and 1 only.
Is that it? Joe
Cool.
That's it? Yeah.
I thought there was a Golden Joe, maybe. Could call him Golden Joe.
That one. I actually prefer Golden Joe. Yeah. With the hats and the Golden
Sure.
Gate Bridge and all the gold of California. Yeah. I like that. I'm for that. Yeah, I don't know. He just Joe. I think didn't he just say just Joe? We used to call him when he was at Athens, like when I was used to do his high school football highlights down in Columbus, and he was in Athens, or even when he first got to Ohio State, we just called him Joe Football.
Joe Football.
Yeah. Because John Football was here at that time, and so it was a playoff of that, and he was in high school.
Sure.
So he was just Joe Football.
Joe Football.
That's what we called him, yeah.
I don't know if football as the second name's worked out well.
Not for that one.
No.
It did for Joe, though. If that would have stuck, he could have possibly overtaken it.
Right. He would have owned it.
Would have owned
sure.
it. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I think it's be fun as we get a little closer. It feels like it's been 6 years in between games.
I'm telling you, and guess what? We're about to have months.
Right, but at least once we get into that and you've got free agency, you've got offseason, you've got all these things, like this 2-week break and the Super Bowl, and it feels like there's really not that much NFL news at this time. I mean, there's just not a lot going on, and I don't know what that is.
Everybody got their head coaches now. That's all done. All those are locked up. There's just nothing that affects us So
No.
if you don't have football to watch and it doesn't affect us,
Yeah. Right, but I mean that's the job, right? Is to find things that tangentially can and apply.
Well, we do
you
that.
think about that's what we do, but you think about
big B's.
you're hoping on you're deciphering social media posts from Kyler Murray. You're getting like who's Russell Wilson hanging out with? I mean, those are the type of things that are happening, kind of around the league. Tom Brady saying never say never. Like these are the things that are being
that's
discussed
interesting.
and bandied about.
I told that to Miss K last night. I said, Tom Brady is already saying never say never. We'll see what I feel like in a few months. She's like,
Yeah. I mean, it would have to be there, I would think, wouldn't it?
oh,
Nerd.
What would his excitement be?
Dreams are coming true, nerd.
he'd be thrilled.
Isn't he tied with Otto for most Super Bowl or most championships? 7.
You said it
I think
emphatically.
Otto was
I believe
7 in
that's right.
10 years, and I think Tom is 7 Super Bowls
Yeah.
in 10
I mean,
appearances.
Otto was pretty
Prolific.
stout there.
I'm pretty sure it is. I think it's tied. I think it's 7 and 10 for Otto Graham, and I think it's 7 and 10 appearances for Brady. But it's 7 and 10 years for Otto Graham.
Yeah, he was.
Do I have this right? I'm
Yes.
saying it
No.
like 88% emphatic.
You've got 3-time NFL champ, 4-time AAFC champ.
Okay.
So that's the 7 that
Yep.
you reference.
Brady would have the 7.
Brady also has 7. I'm trying to see if it's got anything for the exact years. But yeah, I mean, you're exactly right about that.
Yeah. Maybe that's all he needs is a little motivation. Try and track that down.
Yeah, he won it in 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 54, 55.
There you go.
Now, what's interesting is that when you go into, they call them like, the playoff logs. Back then, to do what he did, he only had to play 12 games. There was only 1 year in 1950 that they played twice. Actually, 1950 and 1949 that they played twice in the postseason. It was just like, you win, and let's go play.
And then that's it.
We're the champ over here, you're the champ over there. Now we play.
That's how we do it. So,
Yeah.
maybe that's the motivation that would get him to want to come back. Someone made him aware that he's not the winningest quarterback in NFL history or pro
He's got the
football
most
history.
Super Bowls.
Right. But you get that 8, and then you pass Otto Graham if you do that. I don't know. We'll see. This is some NFL news today as it concerns us. Personnel executive Ryan Grigson leaving the Browns to join Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah in Minnesota for a senior role in the football personnel department. I didn't think necessarily this specifically, but thought there would be some attrition with Kwesi taking some of our guys. And Grigson is one of those great. We see him around in the old days before the COVID. Used to see him all the time, and still do a little bit. But he's been great.
A mountain
since
of
he's
a
been here.
man, former GM of the Indianapolis Colts. That's where Andrew Berry got to start working with Grigson and why he brought Grigson in. And Grigson and Kwesi really bonded and liked each other. And I think that, he gives Kwesi as a first-time GM somebody in his crew that's got GM experience. And I'm sure that, AB was probably wanted that for him, and that's one of the reasons AB had him here. And so I think that's it's good. He'll be missed. Both of those guys are going to be missed. But the good news is both are in the NFC, so I like that. But again, they do pick right before us.
Yeah, it's
Literally.
That is pretty interesting.
Literally.
Like whatever you're, don't trade out from under us. If he who should not be named is sitting there,
Right. Like,
give us a right of first refusal on that, right?
yeah.
Help us, help you.
Yes.
We helped you, help us.
Yeah.
Take care of us a little bit
A little bit.
on that front.
Little
Yeah.
love.
Would be good. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine has declared Sunday to be Bengals Day throughout the state of Ohio. Gibby wants to know how we're feeling about this. Ambivalent.
Totally. Did it happen? I don't know. Do I care? No. I bet Gibbe's upset about it, though.
Are you mad about it, Gibby? Do you want to fight people about it? About the Bengals Day in Ohio?
I don't know how, hey, Governor, there's 2 teams in the state.
Only
He
one's
is
playing
mad.
though. Is
Right.
probably would be his
Right.
retort. When you guys make it, then it'll be Browns Day in the
Yeah.
state.
I mean, every day is Browns Day.
Well,
and about
valid.
80% of the state.
Again, valid. The Bengals certainly are the official team of Kentucky. There's no
Yes.
question. Yeah,
Well, listen.
I
They're
think the
playing in
Burrow,
the Super Bowl.
They are, and the Burrow part of it is
It's
that's the other.
It's not.
thing.
Yes, Burrow, massive.
Massive. Yeah.
The whole team seems likable. Everybody on this team, they're young, talented, likable. Their dads are likable.
That's true.
It just feels like they're a lovable bunch of youngsters who are handling it all the right way. They're cool. Their coolness is off the charts. They're talented.
Yeah.
They're humble. What's not to like?
I think that's it. It's the likability of them.
Yeah.
And little kids love them. Like Jamar Chase with the gritty and all that business. And
Burrow.
Like they're really likable on that front. And I don't sense anything, just talking to Browns fans, like I don't sense any, like, it's weird. I don't sense any vitriol towards Cincinnati. Certainly as if this were Pittsburgh or Baltimore, it'd be a totally different. I don't sense that.
Vast majority of people I talk to about it are rooting for the Bengals.
Yeah.
But there is a small minority, I'm sure he's included, that absolutely doesn't want the Bengals to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Which
quite the opposite.
You're going for Joe?
I think I'm going down the road.
I'm curious. Tweet us, because I am curious. If you're somebody who is just absolutely against the Bengals, that's a Browns fan that's listening right now, why do you 100% not want them to win the Super Bowl? Like, why are you so against them? I'd be curious. Is it jealousy?
Divisional or just I don't know.
Because it's not like the Bengals have been, even Michigan, we talked about it, and I knew plenty of Buckeyes fans who were like, I'd rather have a Big Ten team win this national title than not.
No, the only time I think it was probably, and this predates me by many years, was the late 80s, like the Weish, when Weish was down there and Marty was here, and Bernie and Boomer, that was probably, Gibby, you were here for that. Was that
the last time that both teams were good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what's required for there to be, some vitriol is for them to be good at the same time.
And at the end of the day, like, we haven't lost to the Bengals. We lost to them once in the last 3 years.
And everybody, both sides hate the Steelers the most.
Yeah.
Like Cincinnati people hate the Steelers.
They do.
So, I think that's like Kimmy Von Ohlhoffen.
I was going to
say,
for Carson
yeah,
Palmer,
that hate will be there forever. It feels like we both hate the Steelers. So, I don't know. I just don't sense that same vitriol. All right, this will make you uneasy. Myles Garrett's going to play in the NBA All-Star Celebrity Game next week.
Great way to segue to that. By the way, that's exactly how I felt. I said,
so do I.
What?
Wait, we're doing what? It's at the Wallstein Center at CSU. It'll be broadcast February 18th, 7 o'clock. Myles is playing in this. I don't know. Just kind of lope around, like don't try, like how.
But he's not going. You've seen highlights of him playing basketball.
Yeah,
he's going to dunk on somebody.
I would guarantee it.
Here's my biggest issue with this:
that you're not on it.
No.
Well, that would have been my biggest beef.
Well, thank you. No, not even that didn't even register on my brain.
I think you're as big a celebrity as several of these humans.
Nonetheless, my biggest issue with this is that the person on the other team that I am guessing will most likely be tasked with guarding Myles Garrett is Anderson Varejao, who plays with a little bit of a reckless abandon and is long and has pointy elbows and long legs and may step on a foot. If Varejao and Boobie Gibson switch teams, I think I'd be fine with this because there's not a single person on the other side that I think poses any type of threat in any way to Myles Garrett. Varejao scares me because he's like the wild thing.
He is like a 9-year-old who hasn't quite grown into his body and his coordination, except he's a grown man and he's 7 feet tall.
And
or 6'10" or whatever he is.
I don't think that he knows any way to play other than with pure passion and effort. Do you know what I mean?
See,
like Boobie Gibson can come out here and just chuck threes up and have a great time with it.
I think the exact opposite. I think it's the non-athletes that you have to be fearful of because those are the people that don't know how to play. And they don't, like...
They're smaller, though, Gibby, right?
Yeah, but
like
that's how you end up getting caught underneath one of them. And then you come down and pop, and you blow out your ACL.
I don't know what this says about me. I know who 6 of these people are.
All right.
6.
Total on both teams?
Both teams.
Okay.
In terms of I've heard of them.
And that's counting like the two
counting
Cavs?
Our guys. Yeah.
All right. I know Jimmy Allen, country singer.
Boobie, Myles, Varejao, Matt James, Machine Gun Kelly, Tiffany Haddish. I think that's it. That's the list.
All right. So I know Jimmy Allen, Brittany Elena. She was on Dancing with the Stars. Machine Gun Kelly, Tiffany Haddish. Quavo. I've heard him. He's in that song.
Oh,
the guy
yeah,
goes,
yeah. I've heard of
Quavo.
Yeah, I got it.
Matt James was The Bachelor. Nia Houston I know about because he's Baco Nation's favorite skateboarder. I feel like if you
he was pretty passionate about it in our meeting.
He was all jacked up about it?
He was.
But would you have known him before the meeting?
Absolutely.
No.
No chance.
I do not know Ranveer Singh. Varejao I know, so I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Counting Quavo, not counting Houston.
Could you pick Jimmy Allen out of a lineup?
100%. He was on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, see.
Yeah.
I don't watch that, so there you go.
Then
you had Brittany Elena from that too, right?
Same.
From Dancing with the Stars?
Correct.
The only reason I know Matt James is because that was during COVID and I watched that season of The Bachelor. Otherwise, I have no idea who he is.
There's a girl from Hudson
There was.
on that season. Hopefully she's staying away from shanties.
Look out with the shanties.
On ponds.
There's a lot. It's an epidemic.
It
That's what the
is an
data set
epidemic.
shows. Just follow the data.
You know Kane Brown. Did you check Kane Brown? You
No,
know Kane Brown.
I don't.
I guarantee you've heard his songs.
I couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
Okay.
I guess that's what I'm saying. I
Miles
cannot
Garrett,
match.
Booby.
I had 7 that and honestly, Quavo or Quavo, whatever,
That's
I more know that. I couldn't pick him out of a
I just
lineup.
know his name. He's in that song with,
Yeah.
what's that guy? Liam something maybe?
Okay.
Shake That Down for Me. or something
Annual
like
AA? Nothing.
that. No.
Jack Harlow? Chrissa Jackson? I don't even.
WNBA players. We should know. I feel like we should know.
No, I don't know him. I'm just saying. I don't. Gianmarco Tamberi, Olympic high jump champion. Oh yeah, she's the local girl who won the Olympics, right? Is that her?
No.
No.
Not
Katie Najat.
Gianmarco?
I don't know.
Gianmarco, I'm pretty.
It's Northeast Ohio. You can have.
I'm going to guess that Gianmarco,
we've
though,
got-
is
we've got
a
lot of-
man. Is just going to be my guess.
Yeah, with the O, probably.
Sounds like
Yeah, so then definitely not.
definitely a dude.
I got 7.
He's an Italian high jumper, which it sounds like.
Why is he here? Why is he in this?
He's the current Olympic champion, world indoor champion, won the 2021 Diamond League crown, becoming the first Italian ever to do so. 6'3", and he's a high jumper. I bet he might.
But why
be able
is
to throw
he
some.
here?
I don't know. And his.
How do you get this?
Do you know what his
list of
signature?
humans?
Do you know what
How
his
do you-
signature
how do you
look
have,
is?
No. How do you have Gianmarco
When you started putting
Tambieri?
this together, how do you go?
How do you go from Gianmarco Tambieri to Jimmy Allen to Justin Bibb to Kane Brown? How do you
I don't
come up
know.
with this list?
But-
what's this list start like that you whittle it to this?
Gianmarco Tamberi
Who
has.
told you no?
Right?
He's got
What did you come to when you were like, and then all of a sudden this is what you land on?
his facial
Who's
hair.
the first call?
Tamberi.
No,
you know
no.
why?
The first call that you make when you're putting this together,
Machine Gun Kelly.
Machine Gun Kelly's the number one? Or more than
Why
Miles?
is the Hoff not playing in this?
Great question. Great question. I don't know.
He was a great hooper.
Yeah. You'd think you'd want the Hoff involved.
All right, let me just finish
All right,
this.
go
up.
ahead. Go with your Italian guy.
So he has a beard
Okay.
shaved down the middle and off on one side. So he has your facial hair, but that beard on one side, clean shaven on the other. That's his signature look.
Really? Oh, my God.
It's incredible.
That kid, you're telling me that, so you were making fun of me. You're telling me that kid couldn't be, oh, my gosh.
It's incredible.
That kid could absolutely go to Ignatius. There's no question.
He's the high
Don't-
jump champion of the world.
I'm just telling you.
On air, lights down. Sam.
It's all gone to hell. Yeah,
I don't know how you come up
end
with
up with
this
this
list.
It's such a crazy list. I don't understand.
How do you not have another NFL player? How's there no
Who do you
Guardian?
think-
Why is there no Guardian on the list?
Great question. Let me ask you this: which of these humans do you think is going to be the one who takes it too seriously? There's always one of these when you have these that there's, and usually like what's in Vegas or LA or something. It's a cavalcade of stars that are involved in this thing. Less so here, but who's going to be the one person here who's going to take this too
I feel like
seriously?
the rappers could take it too seriously.
Miles.
Oh,
Miles.
yeah.
I think Miles is going to dunk on somebody.
You think Miles is going to want to score like 42
Yeah,
points
Jimmy
in a
Allen,
celebrity game?
based on watching it in dance, is not going to. I don't believe he's going to take this too seriously. I don't think.
What
Now,
about
I
a
think-
Kane Brown? You think a Kane Brown is going to have a lot of effort?
I mean, he could give you some effort. I think that the Hamby from the Las Vegas Aces and Jackson, the Harlem Globetrotters player, those two are going to be by far the best people on the court.
Yeah, they'll knock down every open jump shot. That's what that'll be.
Yeah. With Boobie and Verge, obviously, played in the league. And then Miles. I think Miles is going to be the one guy that's going to want to dominate. He's Myles Garrett. He wants to dominate. He dominates people and embarrasses them in rec videos. You think on a stage like this, he's not going to try to go out there and
you know what I hope?
Pull something?
I hope he dunks on Matt James's melon.
Same.
Just for the absurdity of that final episode of that show that I watched.
Ugh.
When he put that poor girl through all that nonsense.
Awful.
I hope he gets dunked on.
Awful.
Just for that. All right, so there's where we stand on that. We'll go around the league. Coming up next a little bit later, Doug Farrar, who we talked about his piece yesterday of the 56 most important players in the Super Bowl. He will join us here in about 15 minutes. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Beau here from my friends at EOX Vantage. EOX Vantage connects core systems that don't talk, from reportings and analytics to insight and decision-making. Gain a more real-time picture of your business. Eliminate those Excel nightmares from business processes. Visualize your important data in one place. Gain real-time insight to make data-driven decisions on performance through role-based visualization dashboards. With EOX Vantage, you can benefit from lower overall costs, better alignment between technology and specific business needs, scalability, ease of deployment, and management. EOX Vantage makes your data work smarter to move your business forward. You're about growth, and your software should be too. With EOX Vantage, it can be. Your company will scale effortlessly. Check them out, www.eoxvantage.com for more. This is we're talking a little bit about Burrow and their spot, and you saw these comments from Rod Gronkowski. If he comes back in 2022 and Brady stays retired, which quarterback he'd like to play with? And his answer, of course, was Joe Burrow.
Of course.
There is a moment right now for that franchise, and this isn't something I'm rooting for, clearly. But there is an opportunity for that franchise, if this happens, to not only be locked into these young players for a long time, but for that group to become a bit of a destination. They do not have an indoor. They have an opportunity here to like change the trajectory of that franchise with this. And they should anyway, win or lose. They should build an indoor. They should do all the things that most places do.
That's right.
But there's an opportunity there for them to really capitalize on Burrow.
There's no doubt about it. And I think that, that for us would make things challenging. But right now we've got their number, so we're feeling good about that. 3-0 against Joe Burrow in his career with the Bengals. Look, he's cool, and it's not fake. It's genuine, and people like him, and they gravitate towards him, and he has the respect, and he can deliver the goods. So he is likable for his teammates, his peers around the league, clearly, and they know how good he is. Yeah. And you put that together, and that becomes a place that people want to go. They've got money, so if you're saying they can bring in some more good free agents, they've got an attractive situation there, other than the fact that you're living in Cincinnati.
Which is a good town. It's fine.
It's a fine town. You got Mr. Ruby's Steakhouse, the precinct.
Several.
Delightful. Yeah,
several Ruby's Steakhouses there. Yeah, they got a great liquor store right across the river in Kentucky. Great one.
Bet some nice
Party
bourbon.
Source, I believe.
Some good
Not
bourbon.
having to deal with politics and lotteries?
Yeah.
Wins
there. Yep. We can't. Yeah, you don't have those restrictions. Bureaucracy. You don't have it down there. No, I think that they have a chance. It's not some secret in terms of the way that the Bengals have operated as an organization for all these years, and now there's an opportunity as Mike Brown comes back a little bit, and Katie Blackburn and that family kind of ascends. There's an opportunity here for that franchise to elevate behind Burrow.
It is. I mean, it's happened.
We saw it here. After Baker's rookie year, we saw it here. People were excited about wanting to come here and play.
Yep.
So you can get a boost from that, and then you just have to maintain it. And they have an opportunity to. So we'll see. And I think win or lose, they do. You mentioned don't they have one of the most cap space in the league? Cincinnati going into
Not
next
most,
year,
but among.
It's among.
It's like $35 million.
Yeah, I knew they had a lot of money that they could do with, and if the idea of Gronk playing in Cincinnati, I don't know if I could see that happening, but never know.
Kevin Koss said, Bo, you just explained why we don't want the Bengals to win. I think that's happening for the Bengals.
No, that's
exactly
lose. What I said. I said it doesn't matter. Win or lose,
Correct.
They can do those things.
Right. So
win or lose. It just would fast track it even more. I think it's the biggest trajectory it changes is Burrow's historical chart, his path that he's going to chart. If he wins it in year 2, then the path that he's on is just substantially different. Yeah. That's an all-time great path.
Now you're there, right?
If you do that in year 2. So that's, that would be something to pay attention to on that front. But
didn't Mahomes win it in year 2?
He did. But
that was
third
his
year in
first
the league.
Second year as a starter.
Yeah, because he did the redshirt year, and then they were AFC champion his rookie year, and then won it. Or no, lost to the Patriots his true first year playing.
Yep.
And then won the Super Bowl in his third year in the league. So Burrow would be ahead of that.
Why am I blanking on who they beat in the Super Bowl with the Niners? Duh.
Great question.
Yeah. And then they lost.
Why are you?
Yeah, I could have erased it. Emmanuel Mosley.
Yeah, you've erased it from the memory.
And they lose
practiced
to the Bucs, and then they multiple times.
Multiple times in practice.
And in fact, in the huddle prior to that play,
bite on this.
Don't bite on the dick. Stay deep.
Yeah.
He's cutting back on your side.
That's a good example of how different things can be on a play. If the Niners win that, Garoppolo is still the quarterback. Lance is not drafted, and they keep chasing it, right? Goes the other way. Lance is drafted. All the injuries happen the next year. Lance is drafted. Now Garoppolo might be the only true quarterback out there. One play, coached up well, and actually a lower degree of difficulty play than the Malcolm Butler play, but that play changes everything, as so many things in history as well. Oh my gosh.
And that was a much harder play to make. This was a much easier play to make. Stay where we've just told you in the huddle to stay.
Yep.
Where we've drilled this all week for you. But no, a mental mistake right there. A missed assignment, an MA as they call it. That's the difference.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. Coming up next, Doug Farrar will join us, NFL editor and writer for USA Today. That is coming up next. A little Super Bowl preview, the most important players in the Super Bowl according to him. We will get to that coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Rumpke Waste Recycling, family-owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or as an employee, you'll be part of the family. Visit rumpke.com to learn more. Let's head out on the hotline for a visit with Doug Farrar, NFL editor and writer at USA Today. Doug, we had fun with your piece yesterday on the most important 56 most important players of the Super Bowl and your ratings on that. We'll get to that in a second, but just big picture-wise, one thing, we're a couple of days out. Obviously there are various interests here in Ohio in terms of people rooting for Cincinnati or not. Maybe some people in this part of the state not. But it does seem like we have two very likable teams playing in this Super Bowl. And it feels like most people are just rooting for a good game who are not fans of these two teams. It doesn't feel like there's a big, strong rooting interest one way or another. What's kind of your read on that?
I think that's true. I mean, I don't know what the feeling is in Cleveland about OBJ catching 10 deep digs and being MVP or something like that. That's probably not a thing you want to discuss. So
not
I
ideal.
shouldn't have done that.
That's fine.
In a general sense, I think, Joe Burrow certainly second NFL season, missed half of his first season with that knee injury, has proven. I think the Titans game with Burrow showed everyone what he is. 9 sacks, he still helps his team win the game. And Burrow reminds me, you're not seeing Rocky 2 or Apollo's trainer. Apollo asked his trainer, did I really win that first fight? And Tony, Apollo's trainer, said, I saw you hit that guy like I never saw no man get hit and he kept coming after you. We don't want a guy like that. I think that's Burrow. You just can't beat him. Stafford, obviously, you know, all the failures in Detroit, which were much more about Detroit than Stafford. I think we're finding that out now. He's maybe a sentimental favorite in that regard. Yeah, just, you know, wanting a ring for Aaron Donald, the greatest defensive player in his era, certainly. And the Bengals have this sort of no-name defense where nobody knows who these guys are, but they're really, really good. I mean, there's fascinating stories and personal stories and matchups all over the place. It's been, you know, great to really dig into the tape and the stats and advanced metrics and write about all this stuff.
Yeah, and you had fun, and you were able to get through and dissect. I mean, I think it was pretty obvious who was going to kind of fill out your top 10, but when you kind of went through it, was there anybody in that maybe 11 to 20 range that surprised you how highly you had them ranked in terms of their importance to this game and the reasons that you discovered that they may, in fact, be so critical?
Chidobe Awuzie, the Bengals' number one corner, was good with the Cowboys, has become really, really good with the Bengals. He'll get cooked once in a while, but go back and watch him against the Packers the way he covered Devontae Adams. that was about as well as you can cover Devontae Adams. T. Higgins, the Bengals' number 2 receiver behind Jamar Chase, can do a lot of the same things Jamar Chase can do. And that, you know, the biggest question is, where does Jalen Ramsey line up? Does he follow Chase? Does he just, you know, not follow and do whatever he does? Well, you know, they can put Ramsey on T. Higgins and leave Jamar Chase open, or vice versa. And either way, it could be a problem for the Rams. I think Sony Michel, the Rams' primary running back, he's a big deal in this game because after what the Bengals did to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, and Matthew Stafford had problems with light boxes. And here's the Bengals just going, you know, rush 3, spy, drop 7 or 8. You know you're going to see that in the Super Bowl from the Bengals. Well, the Rams have not been good running against light boxes this year. The only one who has been good is Sony Michel. They're going to need him to do that because if the Bengals are just able to, you know, rush 3, rush 4, drop 8, Stafford was pressured a lot with those, you know, light pass rushes and deep drops because it forced him to hesitate. You know, first read wasn't open, second read, everything is cloudy out there, and he's waiting and waiting and waiting. He can't run around like Mahomes, and all of a sudden he gets sacked. So that's another guy. I think for the Bengals, the most important player might be Mike Hilton, he's their primary slot corner.
Yep.
Who's the Rams slot receiver, primary guy, Cooper Kupp? I think
Triple Crown winner.
If
No big deal.
Yeah, if Hilton has a good game, that helps a lot. If he doesn't, that's pretty much game over on the Rams side.
Yeah, but you want to make sure with Cooper Kupp that if it's a end of game situation that you don't let him run by you. That's like you would never want to do that, and that's never happened.
I think I think that's a good plan.
Yeah. Well, certainly that's a good plan, and so the Niners' plan was also kind of insane, which was on third downs, let's just single up Cooper Kupp, and maybe we'll play some cover 2 and let him run right up into the hole shots there for touchdowns. That was make somebody else beat you at some point. Now, Odell's certainly very capable and has been playing well since he's got there, but are you amazed at how and you can tell us, is it scheme? Is it just the fact that he is so shifty and pure talent and Stafford's ability to get him the football? Are you amazed that he won the Triple Crown and is still getting the ball at the rate that he is, even in these playoffs?
Well, I mean, somebody asked me yesterday on Twitter what was my comp for Cooper Kupp historically. Well, the first thing I thought was Lance Ulmer, the old Chargers receiver, Hall of Famer, just a route surgeon. And Kupp has that same thing. And the thing about Kupp bracketing him and all that, well, you have all these other guys, all these other weapons. And bracketing from the slot is harder. You know, the boundary is not your friend. And he's got all these choice routes and option concepts. He's really sort of their choice guy. So it's, you know, Z choice or whatever it is. And Kupp is just doing that, you know, the old school Edelman, Welker, Doug Baldwin thing where it's, okay, slot defender goes this way, I go that way. It becomes really, really easy for Matthew Stafford to find him because it you know, there's an elevated intelligence to what Kupp does, but at its core, it's pretty much, you know, fourth grade playground. Guy goes this way, I go that way. Guy goes that way, I go this way. And, you know, that's as much as you want to get into your 700-page playbooks and whatnot, when you have a guy who does it that well, it's just really tough to defend.
Yeah, it sure is. I'll tell you that this run Burrow's on is pretty dang tough to defend too. It's interesting, Doug. I know you've seen some of the statistics on him versus pressure, the way that he's played in fourth quarters the last month or so.
Yeah.
It just feels like he's impervious to it. Anytime they have the ball in a situation where it feels like they have to score, it feels like he goes and does it. What do you make of what you've seen from him in the last couple of months? And this wasn't. It's not like it's been this way all year, because he was throwing it to the other team a little bit at the start of this season. He's not doing that anymore, and he feels like he's so clutch. What do you make of what you've seen from Burrow here in the last 2 months?
Well, that goes back to LSU and the Natty and the 60 touchdowns in one season. The word I've used to describe his composure is eerie. It's just weird. It's weird for a guy who's been in the NFL for a year and a half on the field, because he missed the half season. You don't see this. He's absolutely impervious to not only pressure, but just getting his brain beaten in. Like in the Titans game, the Chiefs regular season game, he was limping around at the end of the game. You're thinking, oh, God, here we go again. Comes back to the next game and just, blows everyone's doors off. Now, the Bengals have obviously a lot of problems with their offensive line versus the Rams' defensive fronts. Rams like to run a lot of bear fronts, five-man fronts, where they force one-on-ones, and then it's not what they want. And that line isn't going to get any better between the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. So they're going to have to scheme their way out of that. There are things they can do. But in a general sense with Burrow, the other thing I'll mention about Burrow, and you haven't seen it a lot lately because the pocket doesn't exist, but watch Burrow in the first, say, 2.5 seconds of the play. When he drops back, they have a really explosive three-step passing game. So you watch him in a three-step drop. His in-pocket movement, that 4-foot by 4-foot little square, Tom Brady has the best pocket movement I've ever seen. I think now that Brady's retired, at least for now, Burrow is as good with that as anyone else. And that's another one of those things. Most young quarterbacks will bail. They'll get skittish, and they'll just start to – Mahomes still does this. A lot of quarterbacks still do this. Guys like Cam Newton did his whole career. Russell Wilson does it far too much. Burrow, he just stays in the pocket, and he'll find a way, or he'll take a sack, or whatever he has to do. And then when the Chiefs bracketed Higgins and Chase, Burrow's like, oh, no one's covering me? I'm just going to run the ball. And you saw what he did to Chris Jones. Chris Jones is like wheezing. Chris Jones is the top 3 defensive tackle in the league, and he's wheezing trying to catch up with Joe Burrow. So I think as he continues to develop, and you see, as you intimated, kind of a different level of Burrow in the second half of the season going into the playoffs, you're going to start to see a guy who, and I've said it before, if you're not considering him among the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, you're underrating him, and you're wrong, because he's there already.
He is, and that's why I think this game is so intriguing, and obviously what's going on, and the fact that, it feels like a movement. There is a love affair with him, the guy, and then also when you put the tape on what he's been able to do, it's an incredible story. It's not surprising given his past, but he has a chance to make history as the number 1 overall pick, national champion, Heisman, and then now Super Bowl champion if he can put that together. Another incredible story, I think, in this playoffs is that of Eric Weddle playing rec basketball out of the league. It comes back, leads their team in tackles against the Niners, and that's a game where what he does very well, even at this stage in his career, was well suited for. I don't know if that's the case this week. What have you seen from Weddle since he's been back? Speed was kind of the issue that kind of knocked him out of the league, and that was years ago. This is a Bengals team that I imagine is going to test him vertically. Doug, is that a big thing to watch here in the back end of this Rams defense?
Well, Weddle at this point in his career is obviously best as a box guy. He's played some free. And there were a couple guys to watch around. Nick Scott was a reserve safety for the Rams, and they've had obviously injury issues that wouldn't have taken Weddle off the couch. Nick Scott has played really well. David Long Jr., their slot corner. Now, Ramsey's a star more than a slot. David Long Jr. is a primary slot corner. He's allowed an opponent pass rating of 22.2 from the slot in the playoffs. So they have guys around Weddle who can cover deep. I think with Weddle, and this was the Rams linebackers have had issues covering screens and wheel routes and anything in the flat. So maybe that's what Weddle does, and their linebackers can kind of stay in and help with run fits and things like that. But, yeah, Weddle's not going to be able to take, say, Tyler Boyd 40 yards downfield up the seam. But that's, everyone knew that. He wouldn't have retired if he still could do stuff like that. He will be wearing the green dot, I've been told. So he's a captain. He's the guy calling the shot, which, he's been there a month and he can already do that. I've talked to Weddle before. He's incredibly intelligent. I'm not surprised either he's a captain. So that also frees guys like Jalen Ramsey up to maybe follow Jamar Chase around and deal with any different looks. Yeah, to me, Weddle's primary attributes are in the box and as sort of the shot caller. If the Bengals want to run 5 wide and put Weddle in situations where he's trying to cover a vert, they might be able to eat something out of that.
Yeah. They probably will. They're going to go empty a lot, I bet.
Yeah, I would think
they
would.
do.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
They're empty. They're no huddle when they want to be. As I said, they have maybe the most explosive 3-step drop passing game in the NFL because guys like, Chase and Higgins can just go 10 yards downfield in 3 steps and Bigfoot, whatever cornerback's covering him, and then all of a sudden a 10-yard pass is a 40-yard play. So, yeah, the Bengals offense, they can throw a lot of stuff at you. We haven't even talked about Joe Mixon yet, who I think had the second most yards after contact behind Jonathan Taylor in the NFL this year. He's pretty good, too. And he can catch the ball. And Samaje Perine can catch the ball. That's another thing I look out for. And this, obviously, the short screen game, swings, wheels, release routes up the middle of the offensive line, those real quick passes, the Rams are not good at defending that. Well, that gets the ball into Burrow's hands quickly, and that's one more pressure or sack the Rams don't get.
Doug, there's probably somebody obvious that you'll hit me with and it'll make me feel silly, but I was trying to think, from a rookie perspective on a Super Bowl contender, the impact that Chase has had on that team, to me it almost feels like as big, and I know Stafford's in this game as an offseason acquisition, it almost feels like as big as offseason acquisition as there was in the league this year.
No question. There's no question about that. Because he already had that connection with Burrow.
Yeah.
They already knew what they like to work with. Here's a fit. Because, I remember doing a piece before Chase was drafted on how he just demolished everyone with slants in college. I got that data, and I'm looking at stuff like, oh, this is hilarious. Well, now there's this boundary fade aspect to the Bengals' passing game, which is, it's almost like Brady to Moss in 2007, where if Jamar Chase is up the boundary 15 to 25 yards downfield and Burrow's throwing a fade, Jamar Chase is catching the ball. I don't care what you put on him. I don't care how many people you put on him.
Even if it's 3rd and 27.
Is done.
To end our season.
There you go. For a rookie receiver to be automatic with any concepts, much less multiple concepts, this early in his career, it's exceedingly rare.
Doug, are you going to next year take any training camp reports that star receivers can't catch the football with a grain of salt after what has transpired this season?
Yeah, I left that one alone. I did, based on his own feet, kind of question his downfield speed, which, I didn't need proof that I was an idiot before that, but that certainly lost it.
Doug, great stuff as always, man. Always appreciate your time and giving us a little bit of it today. Real quick, Z, with one more quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, Doug, how's this game going? What do you see happening? What's the outcome in your mind?
I think in the last minute of the game, Evan McPherson will pull an Adam Vinatieri and kick the game-winning field goal. Bengals 27, Rams 24.
Wow.
Think of that, Burrow,
Just give me
McPherson,
that
all those young kids, man. Jeez, unbelievable.
Stud.
Great stuff,
Yeah,
Doug.
by the way,
go ahead.
Duke Tobin runs this Bengals personnel, and he's done an incredible job both with the draft and free agents because the Bengals have 2 scouts.
Yeah,
They don't spend money on personnel. So Duke Tobin is the guy, we talk about underrated Bengals. Duke Tobin might be the most underrated Bengal of all.
You go in 2 drafts, Burrow, Higgins, Chase,
Logan
Wilson. It's a lot of hits.
Getting Chidobe
Hendrickson, Eli Apple, Von Bell, all the guys they brought in free agency, that's just as important. It's really impressive.
Yeah, they've done it.
Quite.
Always appreciate your work, Doug. Thanks for giving us some time today.
Take care, guys.
All right, that's Doug Farrar, NFL editor, writer at USA Today Sports Media Group. You can check out his writing at touchdownwire.usatoday.com.
He's got the Bengals.
I mean, it's really believable.
Of course it's believable.
If they get the ball with around a minute and a chance to win or tie, and 9 has the ball, I believe that they will win or tie. I just don't see a scenario where they don't.
So
he's just done it.
Here's what I think. So there are 4 outcomes to this game. Now you'd say, "What, Nathan? What are you talking about?" There are only 2. Rams blowout. Rams win close. Bengals win close. Bengals blowout.
Bengals blowout is least likely.
I was going to say, I really only think 3 are possible. And I do think the Rams could. It's possible that the Rams could just defensively dominate them, get up to a big score.
They haven't been blown out in a while. I mean,
no, but teams that when they play teams that are top 10 DVOA defenses, they're 1-3 this year, and the average margin of defeat is substantial, including us at 41-16.
Well, when was the last time they played one of those, though?
Obviously not in the last 6 games because they're 6-0.
Right. I'm just trying. So it's been a while.
It's been a while. This will be the best defense.
They've had a new gear.
This has been the best defense that they'll play as well.
Since
in
us?
a while. Maybe. You'd have to call Cleve TA, who had all those stats earlier today.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah.
But it's going to be great. If you would rather see, this is your dream scenario. You're producing this. This is like a WWE main event where you get to decide how you want where the finish is going to come from.
Yep.
Do you want Stafford with the ball 2 minutes down 5, or do you want Burrow with the ball 2 minutes down 5? For your viewing pleasure. Okay.
Burrow, for sure.
You're such a Stafford guy, though. I thought you were like his uncle, and now you've really embraced Joe.
Well,
You're hugging him.
I've known Burrow since he was 14.
Yeah.
And I've interviewed him many, many times. Stafford, I've interviewed once.
Yeah, but you really
liked
like
him from afar. I do, yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe I had how good he was. I believe it's been validated.
Yeah. Well, especially
how good that he's been.
The fact he's been able to overcome a career just fraught
with injury,
his dedication.
He was able to finally stay healthy. What's he doing?
He's not even listening.
Scrolling. Doesn't know.
He's not even listening. We're making fun of him.
Doesn't even realize.
We're doing a show. You're a part of it.
Scrolling on things.
I'm texting with the Hoff.
Oh,
okay. All right.
I'm coordinating.
What a flex.
Because I believe he's coming on tomorrow.
Oh, well, that'll be good to see the Hoff. Talk to the Hoff anyway. Be very, very good. Figure out why he's not in this game, this basketball game with a bunch of these no-names that are in this thing. Let's get the Hoff in it, for crying out loud. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
OBM, Ohio Business Machine, preferred copier provider, your Cleveland Browns. They have all the X's and O's for your office. Call 216-485-2000. Visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Top of the hour, NFL Honors Week continues. The Hall of Fame class will be announced. There are 15 modern era finalists. We'll have a little fun with that coming up next. In the second hour, you're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Beau here for Char Whiskey Bar and Grill in Rocky River. Enjoy over 300 whiskeys and craft cocktails paired with made-from-scratch menu items. Make your Valentine's Day extra special with dinner at Char. Valentine's Day specials include rosemary lemon chicken breast with vegetable kebabs. Visit charrockyriver.com to make your Valentine's Day reservations now. Support local. Visit Char Whiskey Bar and Grill in Rocky River. Check them out. You will not be disappointed. And on a First Friday, you're going to enjoy that whiskey bar, the amount that they have, and the cocktails that they can procure for you. It is Super Bowl weekend, obviously, and there is also, that means a Hall of Fame list will come from this. 5 of the 15 modern era finalists will receive entry into the Hall of Fame this summer in Canton. Also in the ballot is 1 senior nominee, 1 coach nominee, 1 contributor. There are 3 players on the ballot who are eligible for the first time ever. Gibbe has given us the list of the 15 that are getting in. I would just go on record as saying that I think they blew that last year by doing both classes in the same weekend.
Agreed.
That was fatigue.
Way too much.
They had A-listers everywhere, and that was just overrun with just too many of them. Because they had the Centennial class and then the regular class. It was too much on there. So this is always tricky because we are at a point with the Hall where all of these – let's just start with this big picture premise. There are a ton of wide receivers that are going to come up on a regular basis. We have yet to get to a rush of the quarterbacks. I feel like quarterback, it's easier to differentiate. It is difficult to differentiate from some of these receivers who are wildly accomplished. And if we start there as a jumping off point, Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, Reggie Wayne are all on the ballot this year of the 15 in terms of finalists. Andre Johnson for the first time. You start to say to yourself, okay, was there ever a point when any of those guys was the best player at their position? I could argue for a year Torrey Holt felt like he was really close at one point, and Andre Johnson felt like he was right there too. He played with terrible quarterbacks.
2003, Torrey Holt, 117 catches, 1,696 yards, 12 touchdowns, led the NFL in receiving that season. Twice led the NFL in receiving, also in 2016, 35, averaged 19.9.
How many All-Pros for him? He's a Pro Bowler 7 times.
Just 1.
But that's Moss and Owens, and I mean it's such a golden
Andre
era of
Johnson.
quarterbacks. Andre Johnson is incredible. And
Andre
he never
Johnson
played in the greatest show on turf,
no,
or anything like it.
So the knock on Andre Johnson would be he never had 10 touchdowns in a season. But Andre Johnson, back-to-back first-team All-Pro, back-to-back led the league in receiving 2008, 2009. 2010, he has 1,216 yards in only 13 games, then 492 and 7. Then comes back with another 1,598 in 2012, and another 1,407. 4 seasons over.
Is that a Matt
yards
Schaub?
Receiving. Probably Matt Schaub, yeah.
Right?
Ugh.
Right. And then Reggie Wayne, I mean, they call him here the Batman to Marvin Harrison Superman, but really he ascended as Harrison was coming back. 15 years with the Colts. He was the number 1 option on the 2009 Super Bowl, 14,000 yards, 82 touchdowns. To me, he seems like the most – it's tricky. Like if they win another Super Bowl, then I think he's probably in. They only win the 1, and so that maybe it holds him back a little bit. I mean, it looks like a Hall of Famer, but I don't know. That's I think
10th all-time in receiving yards, Reggie Wayne.
That's where we're going to be. But he played with Manning
once.
He played with Manning,
Yep.
Like Andre Johnson playing with Schaub versus Wayne playing with Manning. Don't you have to consider that?
Oh, yeah. I just think Andre Johnson was one of the most physically dominant receivers in the league and was probably he was the big dude. I mean, you put him on any team and he would have been what he was.
I think
and
that's proven by the fact that he did it with Schaub.
Right. You put him on a better team.
Can you imagine if he was with the Colts?
Right. That's why of these 3 receivers, the guy that I would put in first would be, and he's got as many All-Pros as Wayne and Holt combined. He's got 2. Andre Johnson would be the one of those 3 receivers that I would put in the Hall of Fame because he had a chance at one time to say, okay, he might be in the game of the best receivers ever. You know what I mean? Like he would be on the roster of, if we played the ultimate NFL game, he has a better chance of being on that roster than either Reggie Wayne or Torrey Holt does.
Yeah, and I think if he had played on a good team with a good quarterback, I mean, he'd be statistically a marvel. He'd be like 6-time first team, 5-time All-Pro if he played his whole career with the Colts.
So
the whole time. Like if he's drafted in 03 with the Colts instead of the Texans, forget it. Forget it.
100%. So Bill Barnwell said, and this was an article from Bill Barnwell, can any superstar receiver have a list of quarterbacks that compares to Andre Johnson's and what he was able to accomplish with those? And so you look at his...
I mean, this is going to make you want to cry.
Matt Schaub. This is who he's caught passes from, I'm guessing. Would be my guess the way that this list is laid out. Because he's got how many yards? 14,000? Yeah, that looks like that'll add up about right. He has 6,970 yards, 32 touchdowns from Matt Schaub, 3,514 yards, 13 touchdowns from David Carr, 1,037 yards, 8 touchdowns from Sage Rosenfels, 845 and 6 from Case Keenum, 633 and 2 from Fitzpatrick, 289 and 3 from Tony Banks, 212 and 2 from Hasselback.
Tony Banks.
He's got 211 and 1 from Andrew Luck when he was with the Colts at the very end of his career. 145 yards from T.J. Yates, 104 from Ryan Mallett, 85 from Marcus Mariota, 39 from Dave Ragone, 34 from Charlie Whitehurst, 23 from Ryan Lindley, 23 from Josh Freeman, and 21 from Jake Delhomme.
Whoever is presenting him, and it's probably McClain, wouldn't he? Because he'd be on it. He's on that.
Yes.
It's probably John McClain.
Yep.
That's what he should do.
Yeah,
he should just read that list and say 14,185 yards, 70 touchdowns. This is who threw those to him. And then you go, yeah, he's in.
We're putting him on our...
Nobody that's
he's
not...
in.
Forget Hall of Fame.
There's not even anybody good.
No. I mean, Luck, but that doesn't even count. He wasn't with Luck long enough.
Johnson's in. The other two will reserve. I'm willing. I don't know about the other two right now.
Right now,
Johnson's in.
They're out for me this year. They're not...
Okay.
I
think the other... the one glaring one on here.
I have 3 autos.
I think there are 2 here that I don't know why it's taken this long, and they should have been in a long time ago, and the best example of this is Zach Thomas. It's a joke that Zach Thomas is not in. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler. He is a 5-time first-team All-Pro. He's on the All-2000s team. He is more accomplished than Brian Urlacher.
He
is a lock. I don't understand what's been happening there.
I have 3 automatics. He was one of my 3.
Okay. I think Patrick Willis
He would be my other automatic.
ought to be in this class. And I don't know why this took so long. He was 4 times first-team All-Pro. He is to linebacker what Terrell Davis was to running back.
Exactly.
So if Davis is in, then Willis is in.
Hold on. And what he's done to me is as impressive as anybody because his career is 8 seasons. And in those 8 seasons, he's a 7-time Pro Bowler and 5-time first-team All-Pro. In 8 seasons, I will say that again, he is a 7-time Pro Bowler and 5-time first-team All-Pro. Now, when I say 8 seasons, I don't know if that's even fair to say because the last season was 6 games.
Right.
So in 7 full seasons, he was a Pro Bowler every year, and he was a 5-time first-team All-Pro, Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, the guy was just... He was the best linebacker in football at the time when there were great linebackers in football. And to make just kind of giving apples to apples, Terrell Davis's career was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons, 3-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro.
That's what I said. He's that.
He's better.
He's better. He's better.
He was my second.
Zach Thomas is better than Urlacher.
Yes.
I know it's cross positionally, but Willis is better than Davis. Willis should be in. Johnson. Those 3 to me those 3 should be in. I have one more lock, and it's Devin Hester.
Yep. So we have the same 3 locks.
He is a lock.
Willis, Thomas, Hester, and then so my possibilities were.
So here's the thing about Hester to remember. He is a member of both the 2000 and 2010's NFL All-Decade team. Punt returns for touchdown 3 times, kickoff returns twice. He was the offensive engine of a Chicago Bears team that played for a Super Bowl with Rex Grossman.
Yep.
Pause.
He's the best to ever do what
that
he
skill.
did. That makes him a Hall of Famer. Like the best kicker should be in, the best punter should be in,
yes.
Best long snapper if there is.
Yeah, whatever that is, however you do that metric.
He's
fine.
the best to ever
He's
do
the best
this.
returner ever. And
Ever.
It's
and with the change of the rules,
margin.
there will never be another like him.
You'll never see anybody do it again. So
Joe
he's
Antonio tackled him on a return.
Did he?
In Atlanta, right?
In Atlanta.
Wow.
Right
That's
before
great.
We
halftime.
tried a long field goal. They put him back to return it, and Batonio got him.
Wow. That's
Bengals.
unbelievable. Now it becomes a little interesting.
All right, so you have 4 locks. You're calling Andre Johnson a lock.
No, I have. I talked myself into Johnson by the way that you presented him with those quarterbacks. But I think he should be in. I think he's very deserving.
So I have. Let's see if
Those 4 would all be the guys that those are the first 4 that I checkmarked and said, yeah, those guys are in. And Hester, Thomas, and Willis, to me, should be locks.
Yes.
Locks.
All right, so you like Andre Johnson. So here are the other people that I had as possibilities. Jared Allen, 2-time sack champion, 3 straight All-Pros at one point, 4 All-Pros total. Jared Allen. Leroy Butler. Do you know that he also had 3 straight All-Pros from 96 to 98, 4 all-time All-Pro as well? Help the Packers win the Super Bowl over the Patriots. Richard Seymour, 4-time Pro Bowl All-Pro as well. When he left New England after 7 seasons, after he was 3-time champion, 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro, went to 2 more Pro Bowls with the Raiders. So he's possible. And then DeMarcus Ware in his first year. 2 times led the NFL in sacks, 4-time first-team All-Pro, 138.5 sacks, 8 double-digit sack seasons.
All of those guys feel like Hall of Famers to me. I don't know about where they are in the ballots and those type of things. I guess none of those guys. Well, Ware's first time on the ballot. The other one who's kind of interesting is Baselli, because he's kind of got it's not quite as comprehensive as Willis, but he was a 5-time. He played just 7 seasons and was knocked out with Jacksonville.
Yep.
He was a member of the All-90s team. I'm always interested in guys who are members of all-decade teams. I think there's a little bit of something to that. He's a 3-time first-team All-Pro, and the injuries just ended his career far, far, far too short. But they got good pretty quick, and he was a big part of it. I think he was the first draft pick ever from Jacksonville. I think he was their first ever draft pick. I think I have that right.
Pete Prisco wants him in. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, and it could be just from the time that I spent down there in that area and just how he was somebody who – it's always tricky with that. He's not like Willis where it's just a no-brain, put him in, that's it.
Right.
But I think you could make a case. And I do think it's really hard. I think the offensive line is wildly underrepresented in the Hall.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, the idea that none of those Redskins that were on those Hogs teams in the 80s are in seems crazy to me, that none of them are in.
So if we had to do 5 this year, we've got the 3 locks. Then you'd go Andre Johnson, and who would our 5th be? Jared Allen, DeMarcus Ware, Seymour, Leroy Butler, or Baselli. Who would your vote be for?
I mean, at this point, you're kind of just going on feel, like who feels like a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And I guess DeMarcus Ware feels like a Hall of Famer to me.
Agreed.
And the others feel like Hall of really good. But doesn't mean that they won't be Hall of Famers. It just feels like if I'm picking.
Richard Seymour was darn good. Leroy Butler was darn good, too.
All these guys are. I think the thing that's tricky with the other thing about Seymour is, like, at some point you're going to have to get some more of those Patriots in there. They won 6 Super Bowls. It can't just be Tom Brady.
Right.
You know?
You think Edelman ends up a Pro Bowler?
Super Bowl or a Hall of Famer?
I mean, a Hall of Famer, yeah.
He's going to be a tough one to try to.
He's one of the great postseason receivers of all time.
Yeah. But he's going to be in this. This is going to be this logjam at receiver because there's going to be so many stat accumulators. And I always lean on all pros. What do you have, Gibby?
Tony Baselli was the number 2 pick in the 1995 draft. Who was the number 1 pick in the 95 draft?
1995.
Is that 95?
AFC team had the number 1 pick.
Is it Dan Wilkinson?
No, but right team.
Kajana Carter.
There it is.
Kajana Carter. Big Daddy.
Hold on. He was the number 2 pick in the 95 draft. He was the number 1 pick in the 2002 expansion draft to the Houston Texans. I did not have that.
Baselli went to the Texans in the expansion draft? That had to be.
Wasn't his career over?
It was pretty much done at that point.
Yeah, he played 1 year. He played 2002 with the Texans, and I don't know if he actually even played.
Look at all a bevy
of humans. There's what Kerry Collins goes like 5th
in the 95.
Yeah,
stand by
because they would have had Kerry Collins. Kajana Carter went 1 to the Bengals and then blew out his knee in preseason. And then they would have had Kerry Collins in the top 5, and they would have had a tight end.
Kajana Carter.
Tight end would have been Kyle Brady.
Yeah.
To the New York Jets. Listen to this draft. This is a pretty good draft.
Where's Kerry Collins, Gibbe?
In 95,
I got him. He's fifth
Carter
to
went
Carolina.
1, Boselli 2, Steve
Aaron
McNair
McNair.
3
Sure.
to the Houston
Alcorn State.
Oilers.
Michael Westbrook from Colorado, right?
Yeah.
4.
He caught the pass. He went to Washington. He caught the Hail Mary
Yep.
from Cordell Stewart to beat Michigan.
Yes.
Collins 5. Kevin Carter 6. Workout warrior
Kevin Carter out of Florida.
Mike Mamula out of Boston College.
Yep.
6 goes 7 to Philly. Joey Galloway 8. Kyle Brady 9. J.J. Stokes 10.
UCLA.
Derek Alexander 11. Warren Sapp 12.
Derek Alexander out of Florida State.
The defensive
Yes.
end. Warren Sapp, defensive tackle. Tampa 12. He's the first Hall of Famer in this draft. There are 2 Hall of Famers taken. How about this? 3 Hall of Famers taken in the first round of this draft, 2 of them by Tampa. Warren
Brooks.
Sapp and Derek Brooks.
Yeah.
The other Hall of Famer would have been Ty Law, 23rd to the Patriots.
Michigan.
You've got Mark Fields, goes 13 New Orleans. Reuben Brown, the big offensive lineman to Buffalo. I'm trying to see who else stood out. Hugh Douglas to the Jets, 16. Tyrone Wheatley to the Giants, 17. Napoleon Kaufman from Washington to the Raiders, 18. James Stewart, 3 running
He's a
backs in a
bust.
row. James Stewart to Jacksonville, then Luther Ellis to Detroit. Rashawn Salam, he was on that Colorado team too.
Won the
right?
Heisman.
Yep.
God rest his
21.
soul.
Tyrone Poole, corner 22. Ty Law, 23. Corey Stringer, 24 to
God
Minnesota.
rest his soul too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Billy Minor to Miami. Devin Bush Sr. Is that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Devin Bush is.
That's his dad, his son. Yeah.
Wow.
Devin Bush went to Florida State, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mark Bruner, 27. Derek Brooks, 28. Blake Brockermeyer, 29. Craig Powell to the Browns, 30.
I think the most amazing thing, one of the more amazing things about that list is the schools that those people came from and how the talent. What you didn't hear a lot of there, folks, if you were paying attention, is a lot of guys from LSU, a lot of guys from Georgia, a lot of guys from Alabama. Do you see what's happened in the sport in the last 25 years? There wasn't any of them.
That's
None.
That
0.
was Miami, Florida State, UCLA, Michigan,
Colorado.
Penn State. Like there was, I don't think you named a Bama guy.
SEC. No.
I don't
There's
think
not
that
one Bama guy.
there's
in the
one
first
Florida
round.
guy. You
Yep.
had Kevin Carter out of Florida. That's it.
That's
Yeah,
it.
you got a couple Florida State kids.
There was a pretty big example of there. You just did when people go, boy, what the SEC?
So there were.
There, that's what's happened.
Here you go. 4 Hall of Famers in this draft, as I said, right? Warren Sapp from the U, obviously. Derek Brooks,
Florida State.
Ty
Law,
Law,
Michigan.
And can you name the other? Third round.
If you give me the school, I can name it. Give me the college.
Third round. Pitt.
Pitt.
My favorite.
Oh, no, he's
That was
not.
his nickname, or when Boomer would say it anyway.
Oh, I don't remember that from
Curtis. My favorite, Martin.
Curtis Martin was a Pitt guy, and he's a Hall of Famer.
That's right.
I didn't realize he was a Hall of Famer. I wouldn't have had that.
Yep, Curtis Martin.
Yeah.
Pick number 74 overall in this draft.
Does he feel like a Hall of Famer?
Oh, wait, there's one more Hall of Famer in this draft. Terrell Davis in this.
Oh, he's a Georgia guy.
From Georgia. But, I mean, he was taken in the 6th round? Yeah, he was taken in the 6th round.
Yeah, it's a pretty good illustration, though, of how the game has changed and where the talent is coming from, where it used to come from and where it's coming from now was just done there for the kids. So we settled on where is our 5th, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Coming up next, Chris Collinsworth on the DP show on Jamar Chase, and a pretty bold statement. We will have that for you, plus Irv in terms of why Tom Brady might – I look forward to this, considering retirement. We'll get into that coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Well, the weather's certainly cold outside. A nice hot bath or shower would certainly feel amazing, and you can transform that space in your bathroom to a custom bath. It'll feel like a spa. Let the Bath Authority make this a reality for you at a fraction of the cost of the competitors. The Bath Authority is Cleveland's premier bath and shower remodeler, expert, factory-trained installers. Give them a call now for $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. And, guys, they can do this for you in about a day. It can't get easier than that. Call 216-220-8399 or go to thebathauthority.com. It's where affordability meets quality. Largest selection of bath projects, all made in the United States. Change your bathroom from outdated to outstanding. Tub-to-shower conversions as well. Superior products, expert installers. Bathauthority.com, 216-220-8399 for $500 off. Radio Row is on at the Super Bowl. While it's not probably as great as it was at one time, still a lot of good stuff coming out of there, including this from Chris Collinsworth on the DP show, talking about Jamar Chase. Let's have a listen.
I think Jamar Chase is already the best receiver the Bengals have ever had. And that's saying something because I watched Isaac Curtis. He was a teammate of mine. You saw him plenty. You know exactly who I'm talking about. Chad Ochocinco had a phenomenal run in his career, but I've never seen anybody do what Jamar Chase has been doing.
I actually don't think that's controversial. And I also was going to say, I thought what he was going to say, I mean, it's 1 year, so you're trying to do a year versus a career. But if he was going to say, I think Jamar Chase is the best receiver in the NFL, I don't know if I'd have a problem with that. He's right there.
He's right. I mean,
he's right there.
Cooper Kupp won the Triple Crown.
No, I understand, but if you were picking one, I'd take Chase.
Yeah.
So
in the whole league right now, I mean, it's Chase.
The fact that he's even in the conversation as a rookie tells you what he's done.
It's like Justin Jefferson a year ago.
It does, but he's more explosive than Jefferson. Jefferson is so smooth. He's so smooth. But Chase is shot out of a cannon. He is shot out of a cannon. He does not have this. I'm not saying the size, but like from a home run hit ability, there's a Randy Moss thing with Chase.
Yeah. Jefferson's averaging over 15 yards a catch for his career.
I love Jefferson.
I do
love him. I'm just saying, like, there's a shot out of a cannon with Chase, and I think Jefferson's so smooth. It's similar to the two Ohio State guys this year. Olave is similar to Jefferson, and Wilson isn't quite as explosive as Chase, but he has that dynamic ability that Chase has.
Yeah, Chase 18 yards catch here, 14.55. I mean, I didn't realize Jefferson's got over 3,000 yards in 2 seasons.
I mean, that feels about right based on what he's done.
And
that's
Kirk Cousins is good, but he's not Joe Burrow.
No, but he does. I mean, they're behind a lot. He throws it a lot. Like there's some accumulation, some stat accumulation. The thing that Chase does is like the throw. They get the turnover against Tennessee. Joe throws it to Chase before he even begins to make the out cut, and it's caught in field goal, game over. He's the one who caught the 3rd and 27. He catches a screen pass in the Kansas City game. The first time catches a screen pass and goes 70. Did he have a 300-yard receiving game?
266 against Kansas City. And
yeah, see, there's that. I don't think Jefferson
Baltimore
has that in the bag. 266. I mean,
Jefferson's more consistent. If you were to take the season, Jefferson week to week is a more consistent producer than Chase is. But Chase,
Jefferson. Would you take Jefferson over Chase?
I don't know. They're both ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, Chase had it this year. Jefferson had
such a weapon.
He had 182. He had 169 in the win over Green Bay. He had 143. I did that 3 of those in a 4-week span. Jefferson was beneath 50 yards twice all year. Chase had a little more. He had that fast start, and then he had a little bit of a lull.
When they were going to Higgins, when they were sorting him out a little bit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times under 50 yards, including 4 straight in the middle of the season, which is so weird. Jets, Cleveland, Raiders, Pittsburgh, a 4-game stretch.
They had a weird lull there.
Yeah.
Because they lost to the Jets. We drilled them, and then they got it sorted out again.
Yeah.
But he's
a beast.
Yeah, he's an absolute.
I mean, the receiving situation in the league, Kupp, Jefferson, and Chase as a trio are basically perfect, actually. Put those 2 guys on the outside and Kupp inside. I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
They're on the same team in college with Burrow in college.
Yeah. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And the Marshall kid.
Marshall, yeah.
And Randy Moss's kid at tight end.
Thaddeus.
Pretty good. Here is Michael Irvin on Dan Patrick into his I wonder if this is insight I'm always curious with Irvin, actual insight or just opinion. Here's Michael Irvin on why Tom Brady might be reconsidering retirement.
I be trying to tell these jokers, man, that thing sounds great at first. Man, I'm not going to have to come to practice. I can sit around the house. You're not going to be able to sit around the house. You're trading one boss for another. You know what I'm saying? Are you joking? Man, it took me forever. I had to tell my lady, like, man, I'm sitting around when I first retired. She's like, what? I'm just chilling. So I take out the garbage. What do you mean take out the garbage? I'm not putting these hands on garbage. These hands got us out of the damn ghetto. What are you talking about? And then trying to tell me to do stuff all day. Tom has had 1 week of it. 1 week. My bishop told me this when I retired. He said, son, he said, now that you're retired, he said, I want to give you some good advice. I said, what's that, Bishop? What's that, man? Because I call him Daddy. It's my spiritual father. I said, what's that, Bishop? He says, work your way back into the house. I said, what do you mean work my way? I pay all the bills. Yeah, work your way. The house been running fine for the last 20 years without you. You got to work your way. So Tom is at that stage. He just got home, and he's recognizing, man, I got to work my way back into my own house. You know what I'm saying? Over there, I was the boss. Over here, I am being bossed. Man, maybe never say 5 seconds. You start thinking about maybe going back. Never say never,
That was phenomenal.
Phenomenal. He also had a great line, too, when he said that the NFL network, I guess, or the league, I don't know who actually does the contracts for the NFL network, approached him during the pandemic about taking a pay cut because times were tough, and he told him, in no uncertain terms, basically, get out of here with that.
Not having that.
Not happening.
Not happening.
Yeah. No thanks.
Irv was on, when he first got out of the game, was he on ESPN? I think he was. I think he was on ESPN right out of the gates after retirement.
I think so as well.
And Deion Sanders was on CBS out of retirement, and both found their way to NFL Network. Man, he's great. That is phenomenal.
All right, here we go.
It's what you potentially are going to miss on Thursday nights. The best studio show in the NFL.
Yeah, I think that the shame with that is it was like the people who watch it, like and we did, obviously, because it led into the Coach Stefanski show, and so it was always on. But it was one of those things where, like, that is such a small club of – I wonder, like, how many people actually watch that based on how many should. Because it was the best, that Thursday night show.
The best. It was my favorite football show.
Yeah.
It was the closest thing that you got to which is the best basketball show with Chuck and
Inside the
NBA and Shaq. So I'm going through Irv's Wikipedia. I don't remember this. Scissorgate. The year is 1998.
Okay.
On July 29th, 1998, Irvin allegedly assaulted a fellow Cowboys offensive lineman named Everett McIver. Not MacGyver, McIver.
Okay.
The initial dispute stemmed from Irvin demanding that McIver vacate the barber's chair so that Irvin would not have to wait for a haircut.
Appropriate.
McIver and Irvin soon began a brawl in the shop, with fellow Cowboy Leon Lett attempting to break it up. During the course of the dispute, Irvin grabbed a pair of scissors and stabbed McIver in the neck, just missing his
Come again?
carotid artery.
Come again? Stabbed him in the neck?
This is what it says. I'm just
Were
telling
there
you.
charges?
Hold on.
That's attempted murder. You can't stab somebody in the neck with scissors.
Hold on. The next sentence is things have changed a lot since 1998.
Oh, my God.
The next sentence, it was reported that Jerry Jones immediately brokered a more than six-figure settlement between Irvin and McIver in exchange for McIver's silence and to prevent McIver from pursuing criminal charges against Irvin.
I mean, that is something that I don't know how right now is the first time I've heard that story.
Same. So I was scrolling through here, and you're right. He went to ESPN immediately, top NFL analyst for ESPN, before he ended up going on and getting to the NFL Network. But
if that happened now,
dude, over.
You're in jail.
Hundo P.
You cannot stab people with scissors and then have it go away for $100,000. That's craziness.
Hold on,
Jerry might be in jail.
It has a citation here. Citation 16. The Associated Press, August 10th, 1998, NFL Roundup. This is from the New York Times. Dallas McIver was paid for silence, paper says. Hold on, I'm going to the actual. This is from the New York Times. This is from the New York Times. Subscriber reached my limit of free articles. This is from 1998. Give me a break.
Oh, come on.
Come on. But there's a real article from the New York Times detailing that Jerry Jones that he was paid for the silence.
Jeez. That's unreal. I can't believe this is the first I've heard of this.
But when you
story.
scroll through something and you
Attempted
see in
murder.
all
That's
capitals,
attempted murder
Scissorgate,
was
1998,
95,
Scissorgate.
You're going
How
to look
about-
into that.
How about attempted murder 1998?
Yeah.
Maybe that should be the heading.
Attempted murder.
Scissorgate. I thought it was going to be like he took scissors out on the field, something with the tape or who knows, God knows what he was doing.
going to say held him down and cut that
Right.
guy's hair.
Right.
Like,
No, we don't stab people in the thorax.
yeah, well, you
I'm
do.
stunned.
I can't either. I don't even know where to
I'm
go. I
kinda
guess we'll do higher or
stupefied.
lower, better or worse. I mean, that's crazy. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Football without friends. Watching the Browns alone means no one's going to hear your amazing in-game analysis, and the same is true with gambling. Keep things social. Never gamble alone. Just one of the helpful, responsible gambling tips you'll find at keepitfunohio.com. Time for a little better or worse, or as Gibby in the Ohio Lottery like to call it, higher or lower. Hello, Gibby.
Gentlemen, welcome to First Friday.
That's right.
By
Perfect
the way,
bourbon night, kids.
What's that?
Perfect little bourbon night for the kids.
43
Little
degrees
crisp.
today.
Yeah, starting
By
to
the
melt.
way-
Yellowstone finale
back
house
on-
at the Zegura household. Let's
Oh.
go.
Yep.
In honor of Beth, we're making, Miss K has found a recipe
Tuna
for
helper?
some type of a hamburger helper, a fancy hamburger helper recipe.
Yeah.
Not actually using hamburger helper, but
Well, some tomatoes, some burger, some macaroni. There you go. Tuna helper was a tough sell. I remember
Real
Mom one time trying to run that by us at the house and just going, nope.
fortunately nobody in my,
And my dad hated tuna. I
Yeah,
think she was just doing it
exactly.
out of spite.
fortunately that was never even in our.
Yeah.
Got some news about former friend of the show, Cleveland Brown, Greg Robinson.
Oh, man. I heard this morning.
Pulled over for a traffic violation around midnight. Police dog alerted the presence of narcotics. They discovered 38.9 pounds
Again?
of marijuana, 3.16 pounds of crystal meth, 2.2 pounds of cocaine, amongst other things. A large
just
assortment
breaks
of
my
drug
heart.
trafficking and packaging equipment paraphernalia. Robinson's second drug-related arrest in the last 2 years after he filed the league. Remained in jail Wednesday on $315,000 bond.
It's not just his second drug-related arrest. It's the second time he's arrested with massive quantities of drugs, including one where he went across the border.
I was gonna say,
Yes, that was in
first one was a
2019.
Which
was
something
really,
has still not been. I was
resolved.
surprised that he hasn't been jailed on that. I mean, when I heard that news this morning, I remember the
makes
interview
me
we did
so
with him in
sad.
here and
Yes.
how he fought back, and he was the gentle giant, nicest guy ever. What is he doing this for? Man, it sucks.
Yeah, I hope. I don't know. Very sad.
I mean, that's
That's a lot of narcotics.
Yeah.
All right. Higher or lower, presented by our good friends.
Sorry
at
to
the
Debbie Downer that there.
I know. Thanks for the Ohio.
Could
the
we
Ohio
get much
Lottery.
lower now?
Today?
Don't,
Our
don't-
good
don't-
friend,
Don't do it. It's right
Pete.
there. It's on a platter. We'll just leave it there on the platter.
Pete Prisca,
Yep.
CBSSports.com. He ranks every starting player in this year's Super Bowl.
Yep.
Hit it.
Higher or lower?
Number 1 is Aaron Donald. That takes us to number 2 in corner Jalen Ramsey. Zegura, higher, lower, or just right?
Can I just say I feel bad for Hakeem Adeniji? 46 out of 46, the right guard for the Bengals. Sorry.
You really
Sorry,
need to feel sorry. I mean, he's playing in a Super Bowl.
No,
there,
but I
man.
feel you don't want to be on that list. You want to be there on the list. No, Joe Burrow is going to go up, and so is Matt Stafford. 5 and 6 are going to move up to 1 and 2, and then the discussion will start. So he is not worse than that, but in this ranking, this hierarchy, he is lower.
Bishop?
Yeah, I mean, the quarterbacks are 1-2, and then you can start to get into a conversation about where they ought to be. I think the one thing that is going to be fascinating on this, just as a brief discussion, is what do they do with Ramsey? So he played a lot of the beginning of the season in the slot, and then they moved him out as the season went along. And so, does he follow Jamar Chase? Or does he follow Jamar Chase on money downs?
Right.
That's what I think will be fascinating. So he definitely should be one of the 5 most important players in the Super Bowl. But to me, like, him and Jamar Chase are the same. Like, whoever wins that situation, if they see each other all the time, that's the one that's most important.
Some brief NFL news, if I may jump in.
Oh, God.
From Ian Rappaport. This is not that type of news.
Buzzkill.
This is I think this will bring a smile to your face.
All right.
The Jaguars are expected to hire former Lions offensive coordinator
Jim
Bob Cooter
Yes.
as their new passing
Let's go.
game coordinator under Doug Peterson. Sources have said he has worked with Peyton Manning and Matthew Stafford. Now, Trevor Lawrence
Is that
all-time name team for sure.
Is that the highest, if we're playing the game, is that the highest a Jim Bob has ever ascended?
No doubt. The whole thing's perfect. Jim Bob Cooter. I mean,
Jim Bob Cooter. Is that the highest a Jim Bob and a Cooter has ever ascended?
both.
Both.
No longer do you have to look in two places for Jim Bob and
no.
a Cooter. Boom.
That's
one
the
place.
list.
And he's worked with Peyton, Stafford,
Hey,
and
who's the
Lawrence.
greatest? Who's the greatest Nathan of all time? Oh, there's a lot of Nathans.
There's
a lot
a
of
lot
famous.
of them.
How about who's the famous Gibby of all time? Lots of them. Who's ascended the highest with a Jason?
With a bow?
Several. But
But
a
Jim Bob
Cooter?
There can
That's
o-
the list.
There's only one.
Right there.
Yep.
And there is no better match
There
than
is-
Jim Bob Cooter and the city of Jacksonville.
Oh, it's perfect. There's 12 of them walking on the landing right now. Jim Bob Cooters walking around. You know they are. There's 6 of them bellied up at Hooters. That's a lock.
Oh, boy.
What? That's the restaurant.
It is.
It is.
You're
You
not
are
wrong,
not
Walter.
Incorrect. Next.
Higher or lower?
All right. We all agreed that Burrow and
Yes. Higher.
so start
Burrow,
this-
Stafford.
should be higher.
Start this after number 6.
All right, we'll go after number 6. God, I totally lost my train of thought. Let's go down the list here a little bit. 7 is Trey Hendrickson. 8, Joe Mixon. 9 is DJ Reader. 10, OBJ. 11 is T. Higgins, and it takes us to number 12 and Von Miller. Higher, lower, or just right, Beau Bishop?
Yeah, I would probably have him a little higher. I also think Odell should be higher on this list because I'm sure Cincinnati will, they're going to rush 3. They'll have 8 back, and I think the Rams need Odell to have a big game. I do. So I would have Odell higher on this list, and I would have Vaughn higher on this list as well. I don't know that the Bengals need a great game from Joe Mixon. I don't. I don't know if they need a great game from DJ Reader.
See, I disagree. I think their success has come because Joe Mixon has been utilized a little more. I don't know about DJ Reader in the top 10.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would have taken because he's
I
more.
think they're going to. I think he'd be empty a lot. I don't know.
DJ Reader is much more of a
Run guy.
run defender than he is a pass rusher, and so again, I think that you talk about the Rams, they're going to throw the football. That's what they do, and yes,
Yeah.
Sony Michel's important to what they do. Gibbe, true or false? Joe Mixon has had a 100-yard rushing game during this 6-game winning streak that the Bengals are on.
Well, you led me, so I'm going to say false. Because you still have that uncanny
It's
ability
the
to
only
lead.
fault in your game.
Yeah,
It really is. Your inability to not lead a witness.
yeah.
Like, you are great at everything. It's the one
But
fault.
you're not Matlock.
You just because he said all of the successes come because of Mixon.
Here's
right.
what Joe Mixon's done in their 6-game winning streak: 58 yards, 3.4 yards a carry; 65 yards, 3.6 yards a carry; 46 yards, 3.8 yards a carry; 48 yards, 2.8 yards a carry; 54 yards, 3.8 yards a carry; 88 yards, 4.1 yards a
Okay,
carry.
what has he done receiving?
Now there you go. He had 1 catch for 2 yards against Denver.
There we go. Just racking him up.
Give it.
Now this one's good. 6 for 70 and a touchdown against Baltimore. 7 for 40 against Kansas City. 4 for 28. 6 for 51. 3 for 27.
Yeah, it's just not.
Right up there.
I
with
don't
Matt
know
Stafford's
why
helmet.
Pete had him so high.
Because he's been making the end. He's making them go.
I guess so.
It's the threat. It's more it's the threat of Joe
threat
Mixon.
of Joe
Gibbe.
Mixon,
It's
Gibbe.
the threat of Joe Mixon.
Still so much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. For a team of injury lawyers dedicated to every client every day, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Coming up tomorrow, the Huff joins the program, plus ESPN NFL draft analyst Jordan Reed will join us as well. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. Enjoy your first Friday. Act accordingly. The next level coming up next, Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.